The first Monday morning of 2026 began quietly in a small, peaceful home in Great Neck. Outside the windows, the winter sky was still dark, with only the soft yellow glow of streetlights illuminating the silent neighborhood. 5:45 a.m. The alarm clock rang not too loudly, but steady enough to pull Daisy out of sleep. She opened her eyes slowly and stayed still for a few seconds, taking a deep breath as if reminding herself, it's a new year. She reached out and turned off the alarm, then glanced at Jonathan sleeping beside her. He lay on his side, one hand resting on his forehead, breathing evenly. Daisy smiled faintly and whispered almost to herself, "First day of the year, and we're already up early." She slipped out of bed, wearing a loose beige cotton t-shirt and gray sleep pants, soft slippers barely making a sound on the wooden floor. Downstairs, Daisy turned on the warm kitchen light. The familiar space greeted her, the place where so many mornings had begun just like this. She started the coffee machine, its quiet hum filling the stillness. While waiting, she opened her laptop. Being an operations administrator, checking emails early had become second nature. Internal Amazon messages appeared. New Year greetings, operational updates, reminders that work never truly paused. She took a sip of hot coffee and winced slightly at the bitterness. Footsteps sounded behind her. Jonathan appeared in the doorway, wearing a dark gray hoodie and sweatpants, hair slightly messy, eyes half closed.
You've been up long?
Not really. Jonathan chuckled and pulled out a chair. A little. Mostly it feels like same schedule, new calendar. They shared a quiet laugh, the kind that comes from years of understanding that life doesn't magically reset with a new year. At 6:30 a.m., a bedroom door creaked open. Nastia appeared, hugging her stuffed bear, wearing blue pajamas with star patterns, her eyes still heavy with sleep.
Mom.
Daisy immediately knelt to her daughter's height. "Yes, sweetheart. It's the first school day of the new year. How do you feel?" Nastia thought for a moment, then said very seriously, "A little sad. Winter break is over." Jonathan laughed softly. "Me too, kiddo." Nastia looked at him, then burst into giggles. Breakfast was slow and calm cereal, warm milk, toasted bread. Daisy gently reminded Nastia about school, while Jonathan listened quietly, nodding now and then. At 7 a.m., daylight finally began to break through the windows. Daisy checked the clock. "All right, time to get ready. We don't want to be late." The first Monday of 2026 had officially begun. By 7:20 a.m., the family stood at the front door as cold winter air rushed in. Daisy had changed into a cream-colored wool coat, black trousers, and flats, her hair neatly tied back. Jonathan wore a black technical jacket, dark jeans, and a crossbody backpack. Nastia bundled up in a light pink puffer jacket, white knit hat, and a small backpack held tightly to her chest. Jonathan locked the door and looked down at his daughter. "Ready for the new year, princess?" Nastia nodded, but squeezed Daisy's hand a little tighter. "I'm a bit nervous. What if there's a test today?" Daisy bent down and gently squeezed her hand. The first day is usually just getting back into routine. You'll be fine. The car rolled slowly through the familiar streets of Nassau County. Houses stood quietly, neighbors heading off to work, breath visible in the cold air. Inside the car, the radio played a New Year news segment. Jonathan spoke while driving. They're saying there'll be more robotics upgrades at the warehouse this year. Daisy nodded. Operations is already preparing for changes. New year, same pressure. The car stopped in front of Lakeville Elementary School. Nastia opened the door slowly, then turned back. You'll pick me up later, right? Of course, Jonathan answered without hesitation. She ran toward the school entrance, becoming smaller among the other children. Daisy watched for a few seconds longer than usual. She grows up so fast, she said quietly. Jonathan nodded as he started the car. And we keep going to work. The familiar warehouse complex of Amazon UNY, 3 Queens Fulfillment Center, came into view. The morning shift crowd was larger than usual. Daisy scanned her badge and changed into a light gray blazer with her ID badge visible. She sat at her desk, logging into systems, reviewing operational schedules and staffing reports. Coworkers passed by. Happy New Year, Daisy. Happy New Year. Jonathan headed into the robotics zone, wearing dark blue technical gear and safety gloves. The sound of machines filled the massive space. A colleague asked, Robot 14 still acting up? I'll take another look, Jonathan replied, kneeling beside the unit. In the vast warehouse, there were no fireworks or celebrations, just work continuing as always. During a short break, Daisy sent Jonathan a text. Did you hear from school? He replied, All good. Don't forget lunch. Short messages, but enough to remind them they were more than coworkers in the same building. By the time the car turned onto their street in Great Neck, the sky was completely dark. The neighborhood looked calm, almost frozen in time. Porch lights glowed softly, and the bare winter trees stood still against the night sky. Jonathan parked the car in front of the house and turned off the engine. For a brief moment, no one moved. Nastia leaned forward from the back seat, her voice tired but excited.
We're home already?
Yeah. Long day, huh?
But today wasn't bad.
That's good to hear. First day of the year survived.
Nastia giggled and hopped down, her backpack hanging loosely from one shoulder. Daisy locked the car, pulling her cream-colored coat tighter against the cold as they walked up to the front door. Inside, the warmth of the house wrapped around them instantly. Daisy turned on the lights, and the familiar glow filled the living room. Jonathan set his keys down with a quiet clink.
All right, shoes off. Everyone inside clothes.
I'm changing first.
Of course you are. A few minutes later, the house settled into its evening rhythm. Daisy changed into a loose brown sweater and soft pants. Jonathan pulled on a dark t-shirt and sweatpants, stretching his shoulders as if finally letting go of the day. In the kitchen, Daisy began preparing dinner, nothing complicated, just soup warming on the stove and bread in the oven. Jonathan leaned against the counter, watching.
You know, I was thinking on the drive back. This year's probably going to be busier than the last.
Yeah. Operations is already talking about changes. New systems, new schedules. Same pressure, just upgraded.
Robotics, too. More automation means more things that can break.
They shared a quiet look, no fear, just understanding. Nastya returned wearing soft pajamas with small stars, dragging her blanket behind her.
Mom, guess what?
What, sweetheart?
I sat next to a new girl today. Her name is Emma.
Oh, yeah? Did you talk?
At first, no. Then she shared her crayons with me.
Daisy smiled as she set bowls on the table. That was kind of her.
I shared mine too.
Dinner was simple but warm. Steam rose from the soup, fogging the air slightly. They ate slowly, the way they always did when no one was rushing anywhere.
So, Nastya, what was the best part of today?
Lunch and drawing. And when the teacher said, "Welcome back."
That sounds like a pretty good list.
How about you?
Daisy hesitated, then answered honestly. Honestly, coming home, just knowing the day was done.
Same.
After dinner, Nastya helped clear the table slowly, carefully, concentrating hard not to spill anything. Daisy washed dishes while Jonathan dried them.
You did great today, he said quietly to Daisy.
You too. We all did.
Later, Nastya sat on the couch, half watching a cartoon, her eyes growing heavier by the minute. All right, bedtime.
Already?
First day back means early sleep.
Nastya didn't argue. She climbed the stairs, holding Daisy's hand. In her room, Daisy tucked her into bed, pulling the blanket up to her chin.
Mom,
Yes?
will this year be okay?
Daisy, I think so. And even if it's hard sometimes, we'll handle it together.
Good night, Mom. Good night, Dad.
Daisy and Jonathan returned to the living room. The TV stayed off. Jonathan sat on the couch, rubbing his hands together, while Daisy curled up beside him. For a few moments, neither spoke. Then Daisy said softly,
It's strange. Everyone talks about big resolutions, big changes.
And here we are. Same house. Same jobs. Same routines.
But maybe that's not a bad thing.
No, it's not.
They sat there, listening to the quiet hum of the house, the heater, the distant sound of a car passing by. As long as we keep doing this, showing up for each other, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, one ordinary day at a time.
Outside, the street remained calm. No fireworks, no noise, just a quiet neighborhood settling into the night. And somewhere between shared soup, tired laughter, and a child falling asleep peacefully, the first day of 2026 came to a close, not loudly, not dramatically, but gently, the way real life often does.